Data. We just spoken to Roland saying actually the international sharing of data. Well, not initially from China when they were pretending there wasn't a coronavirus crisis, but once the the DNA, the genome project was released on this virus internationally around the world, experts have been able to work on a vaccine and work together. But sharing data is absolutely crucial, not just in the treatment of this, but also in how we tackle the spread of the disease. Jamal Ahmed is a fellow of Information Privacy and Chief Executive Officer of Kazient Privacy Experts and joins us now. Good morning to you, Jamal.
Good morning, Julia.
Good morning. What do you mean about the need to share data, why it's so important? Can you explain that?
Yes, I can. In times like this, when we have a global pandemic, it's very important that the data that we have is shared and used to help us contain and deal with this coronavirus as quickly and as easily as possible. Now, for example, when this virus first started, and indeed we still have very few cases in the UK at the moment, but when this virus first started, we could identify who those individuals were, and we can use things such as mobile phone data to track who they might have come into contact with, where they're located, and be able to isolate and secure them without having this disease spreading by not really knowing who might have come in.
And this is technology that was used in China, in South Korea, in Singapore, in Taiwan and elsewhere, where they actually, again, that data was just made available. So it's not just where have you been with your mobile phone, any other mobile phone registering in the same area at the same time. They were directly contacting those people, whole teams of government staff contacting those people to tell them to self-isolate as well and to be tested. And that's where we saw, particularly in South Korea, they were able to contain the virus, extraordinarily, until they had that one super spreader who was a part of a religious group who managed to spread to thousands of people who then travelled across the country without anyone realising. But that has been vital. Presumably, though, you're an advisor to governments, you're an advisor to the Financial Ombudsman Service on data privacy. We've got all these issues over data privacy in this country. You can't share this information. Do you think that's the sort of thing that should be tackled by the government's emergency powers, to just say this stuff, the privacy issues, they don't matter anymore, not in a crisis like this, and we're going to have to give over that personal information temporarily?
Well, in Europe and in the UK, we see data privacy as a fundamental human right, and rightly so. The GDPR came in May 2018, and it increased the rights individuals have when it comes to data privacy. However, even the GDPR allows the government, allows businesses, allows institutions to put in place exemptions to people's rights at times like this. So, for example, if there is a public interest, you can override those individual rights, given what you're trying to do with that data is proportionate to the purposes you're trying to achieve. And in this situation, we see countries closer to home, such as Israel, using this kind of data to limit the spread of coronavirus and to deal with these problems in a very pragmatic and practical way. And I don't think the public would be outraged or even too concerned, knowing that MI5 already has this data on us, MI5 are already monitoring this data, that they actually now use it to help the public from to help stop the spread of coronavirus.
Absolutely. This is the thing, we don't want it being used by someone to try and sell us stuff or for nefarious reasons. If it's being used to try and stop us and our family members and our fellow citizens from dying of this disease, I've got to be honest with you, I've really got no problem with someone sharing my data like that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. So, for example, for a lot of the population, they're not too worried about getting it themselves because, as your expert said earlier, there'll be a couple of days where they suffer with the fever and they might become immune. But what they're worried about is being a carrier and impacting one of their vulnerable loved ones and then having tragic consequences. So we've heard of people that have died of coronavirus and the family have been in isolation. They couldn't see those people in their dying moments, and because of the situation, they can't actually be part of the burial and they can't give them a send-off. Imagine being in that situation. Yeah. Nobody wants to be in that situation.
Absolutely. Jamal Ahmed, thank you very much indeed for that. Fellow of Information Privacy Advisor to Governments and the Chief Executive of Kazient Privacy Experts. Let's bring in Andre Walker.